Moving on to your new play, which is inspired by the story from the Old Testament, Samson, that takes place under Philistine rule, with the protagonist who is so strong he can kill a lion with his bare hands, and his strength comes from his hair. It's a story with love, betrayal, and hope of delivering a people. There's a sort of mission. What attracted you to this biblical tale in particular?
It just clicked. I was interested in how the Greeks had mined their own sacred text for their great dramas of the 5th century BC. And I thought, let me look at the equivalent from the Bible. And I went through several different biblical stories, and this one just clicked. It's a story of colonization, of occupation, and of revenge, and somehow it tapped into the zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm. And how did you feel that it was transportable to our current day society?
I mean, I think all around the world there are so many people who are living under the oppression of other peoples. I mean, it's the history of my own country in South Africa. It's happening in Ethiopia, in the Tigray region, in Xinjiang province, in China, in Palestine. I mean, it's one of the stories of our times. People being occupied by other people, disempowered, dehumanized, disenfranchised. So it really clicked with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about we take a look at what your new play looks like?
Samson remembers his people, the tall ships in the bay, the flags all fluttering, the gifts scattered on the beach, and his people running.
You come here with your mumbo jumbo,
your cheap garments, your animal stink,
your pharaoh hair,
your eyes fixed upon our women like an egg and coveting our web.
It's a wildfire, a conflagration, a fire for a fire, a tooth for a tooth.
Out of the eater comes something to eat. Out of the eater, out of the strong comes something. Out of the eater.
Who is the eater?
What is there to eat?
Who is the strong?
What is so sweet? Sonke amaphutha siwenzile.
Bonsoir. I've just been to the most incredible production that makes me proud that I'm a South African citizen. And with me in the dressing room, I have one of the actors, and people in South Africa, my viewers there will definitely know who he is, Marlo Minnaar.
Hello guys, bonsoir, ça va? Ek is Marlo Minnaar.
Okay, Marlo, where were you born?
Ek is eintlik gebore in Namibia, maar ek het opgegroei in Oudtshoorn, Suid-Afrika.
Oh.
En, ja, en ek bly tans in die Kaap.
Okay. Now, just to explain to the viewers that Oudtshoorn is the ostrich world in South Africa.
Yes, that is correct. Die groot voelparadijs.
Okay. Okay, Marlo, can you tell us where you studied and what you studied?
So I studied at Stellenbosch and
Right.
I studied drama. So I have my BA degree in drama and theatre studies.
Okay. And Marlo, I've seen that you worked in all the different media, radio, television, film, etc. Which one do you prefer?
Ooh, that is always a difficult question for me because I love everything.
All of them.
And it's so funny, I just saw a clip the other day on social media where
Right.
Denzel Washington spoke about, or in front of a crowd, and I think it was like drama students,
Okay.
and he spoke about the truth, and whether or not you do theater or television, the truth is always the truth, and he explained it so beautiful. He said, for the person at the back of the row, it is person sitting here in front, it is the truth. So always just play your truth, and give your truth. So if I think about it that way, for me, it's just a beautiful thing to kind of immerse myself in truth, whether or not it's theater or whether or not it's camera acting. It's just a beautiful way of expression for me, either or. So I love both.
Okay, and stage?
Stage will always be my baby.
Tonight is,
Yeah, it will
I
always
can
be
see
my
people
baby.
coming alive on stage.
Yes, of course. No, theater will always be my baby, and theater will always be my first love. I love the magic of theater. To kind of immerse yourself in something or someone that you couldn't otherwise be, and just when the curtains go up, and you can just show them. You can transport them into another world,
And
which
it's
is a beautiful
direct
thing
contact
for me. Of course,
with your audience, not like TV where you don't know what
yeah,
the
and
reactions
with cut
are.
and action and there's always a weird thing of where you lose momentum always in camera work, where you find it so difficult at times to kind of get yourself in that moment again. With theater, obviously it's live, and you don't have second takes. But I also love the fact that with camera acting, there's a subtleness or subtlety that you can express, and more with your eyes,
It becomes
especially,
smaller,
and the emotion, it becomes
acting.
smaller. And obviously highlight the emotion more. Where theater you have to play bigger, but I love both, and it's always nice for me to try both, and to kind of keep active with both.
Great. Right, Marlo, I read that you played the gorilla in Cabaret the Musical a long time ago. It's a role that I played many moons ago in Bloemfontein.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and just to explain to the viewers, it's the scene between the Master of Ceremonies and a gorilla during the song If You Could See Her Through My Eyes, referring to the gorilla. So it's actual social commentary. So I want to know from you, what do you see, what's your role as an actor in society?
Wow, Leon, that question caught me by surprise. I must say that is many moons ago. I was still a student. I think I was a second-year student at Stellenbosch drama department, and Martinez Basson, who is that I regard the most amazing director in South Africa, theater director. He ventured into this project, and we did it as a student production, but it is the Kenda and Ebb musical, Cabaret. And I played the gorilla, like you said, and it was so weird. They made a whole gorilla costume for me, with the head and the suit. And I remember, can I just tell you, I remember almost dying on stage, because what happened was, so it was a furry gorilla, and they masked my they made a mask out of my face with like what is it? Latex. A latex mask. But there was fur all around, and what happened the one night, the fur went into the mask, and as I was about to go on stage, I realized that the fur went into my throat, and I coughed, and there was a dance routine that, like you said, the master ceremony and the gorilla have to do in cabaret.
That's right.
And I remember I was so close to the MC's mic that I couldn't cough, and I literally I choked on the fur, and I managed to do the scene, to finish the scene, and as I ran off the stage into the wings, I just threw up, and it was such an horrific process, but it was beautiful. I loved working with Martinez. That was my first time that I worked with Martinez. And on your second part of your question, in terms of what my role is as an actor, I always thought that as an actor, we are in the front line of social commentary, and I've always strived in my work to kind of in whichever, like Samson now tonight that you saw, to kind of just lay some commentary
Yeah.
on the status quo and where we are in our lives nowadays.
That's
with
correct.
with a world that is such a mess nowadays. And I think
Yes.
with art we have the courtesy to say what we want to
Absolutely.
say in
You,
the art
you're
form.
like a mirror.
Of course, and
Yeah.
that it's Shakespearean saying where he goes like, as to were a mirror up to nature,
That's
and
right.
that is but
Yeah.
the actor's work to just show on stage the mirror back to society and say, look, this is what we do, this is what we are doing to each other.
Exactly.
And whether or not it's an art form, I mean, we came out of COVID, which is the most horrific experience that all of us went through in modern society. And throughout, it is always the art, the art form and performing arts that that survives,
Yes.
and that says a lot about actors and our role in society. And
Absolutely.
when things are tough and our backs are against the wall, it's the artists to it's it relies on them to kind of just take the lead and guide us to through troubled waters.
Absolutely.
So I always strive to kind of just have some sort of a social commentary in my work and what I do and the projects that I take on.
Yes. And tell me, it's not your first time in France. You've performed here before?
Yes, of course. The same show, Samson.
Right.
We've done it at the Festival d'Avignon. We performed there for 2 weeks or a week and a half.
Right.
And to standing applause. So this is now, Paris is our first, or Nanterre is our first time here in the big city. And I love it. It's beautiful. And the French people, the audience, they come in numbers, so it's beautiful to see. And they appreciate the work, which is beautiful to see.
They do, always. End of last year, I saw a dance production, also South Africans, with Dada Masilo, who lives in France, and she choreographed it, and the audience went wild.
And I think, and that is also an important thing for me, is the fact that we realize, and as soon as we come out of South Africa and show our work to the world. I've been chatting to a young actor now, now before this interview, and he couldn't believe that we were from South Africa, and I was like, we are so blessed to kind of just show our work to the world, and we don't have to stand back because our work is world class,
Absolutely.
And that is and the appreciation we get around the world. We've been to Barcelona as well, did the show there. And it's just incredible how people relate to the work that is coming from South Africa. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Marlo, you won quite a few awards. Tell us about that.
Yes, look, I've been in the game for for a short while. This is now my 15th year, I think, 13th year that I've been actively, professionally an actor. And along the line, I've got some accolades, which is always a beautiful thing, to get recognition.
Tell them about the best actor one.
Yes, last year has been a good year. I've won an award for a short film that I've done, like a 10-minute film. It was for the Silver Scarum Fierce, and I won Best Actor for that. It was Aletta Besaidenout, who is a veteran and the most amazing actress in South Africa. I worked with her, which was such a blessing and a learning process for me.
Right, and that's the one that was called On Off? In
On
English,
Off,
On Off,
On Off, that was the one. And then in October, I did a one-man show.
Right.
That Leanne van Rooy, who's a very good friend of mine and also an actress, she directed the show. And the person that wrote it is a friend of mine who's also from Oudtshoorn. He's a poet. His name is Ricardo Arendse. He's a poet and he ventured into theatre writing. And they came to me with this project and said, look, it's his first time. I've worked with Leanne before, many times before. I played her son at a certain point in time, and also another one-man show previously. But last year we did this show called Die Halve Huis, which is basically the story about
read
Ricardo's
about
life. And well, he took initiative, creative license in terms of putting it in a parallel form in terms of his life and his journey and growing up and his journey into adult, into adult world or
Yeah.
adulthood. And it was it was a tough production to do, man alone for an hour and a half to be on stage. And yes, I did it at Woordfeest in Stellenbosch. And they awarded me Best Actor for that show, which
Well
was
done.
a blessing and a
Well
beautiful, just an amazing learning curve or learning process for me as well to immerse myself yet again into that sort of a emotional state where you have no other reason coming back to what I said about truth, you know, and to kind of just the show wouldn't have worked if I didn't rely on some sort of truth that came from me. You know, the themes like father-son relationship, depression, the dying of a son, and all of those stuff. So heavy themes and material that we worked with. So you had no choice but to kind of just go fully into it and do the best you can.
I also noticed that you're working with a friend of mine, Hannes van Wyk.
Oh man, beautiful! Yes, of course. I did a soapy. I did a soapy in during the COVID time, and I did it for around about like a year.
Okay.
And Hannes was one of the directors. So, and it was beautiful to kind of also get that training under my belt, or like they say,
It's
another
a different
tool
thing.
in your tool belt, kind of,
absolutely.
And with the multicam thing and whatever, and also needing to work out that angles and timing with camera angle, which is then totally different to theatre acting, or more technical, definitely. So I learned a lot from all of the people at the soapy as well.
Okay. Marlo, sitting here in Paris, the city of light, when you think of South Africa, what do you think of?
Leon, that question is so ironic. The city of lights, like you say, or light. And at the moment, we are going through severe load shedding in South Africa. And it is such a sad state of affair, and being here and seeing how things are just working and the alternative that could be for South Africa, and especially coming here to the theatre and being welcomed so much, and then people ask you about South Africa and how are things working that side, and I go like, oh man, and then you do want to be honest and say, listen, but come and experience South Africa, come and enjoy South Africa, but then you also know that the state of affairs in South Africa is of such a nature that nowadays we are, the norm for us is most probably a lot of the times having to do a show and having to cut the show because of load shedding, and then waiting for a generator to switch on. So it's kind of sad for me, but I hope and I'm optimistic that things will change fast and quickly, and and that we can just get back to living our full potential in the arts and all over. I mean, it's affecting the whole society of South Africa.
Of course.
So
and it does influence the South African rand.
It does.
My pension is getting smaller and smaller.
Oh yes, no, indeed. I remember being in Avenue when we did the show there, and I think I'm not sure what the euro to the rand was, but I remember it was the looting that time as well. And then I just remember the euro spiking so like overnight, the euro spiking. So you can definitely feel the difference and the change when you are South African traveling or for work purposes and needing to buy food here, whatever, and the rand value is going
it's
down
terrible.
or up. But I love my country, so I must say I'm optimistic about change.
Of course, And you've been hopping around a lot in Paris. I noticed on Instagram. So, which one was your highlight?
Ooh, my goodness, everything was my highlight. I went to the Eiffel Tower. I
Yes.
went to the Louvre. I saw the
Nice.
Mona Lisa.
Yes.
That was just incredible. The
Yes.
whole Louvre Museum was just so beautiful and incredible.
Right.
I decided to kind of just do everything possible that I could do. So
Okay.
I went to the
Sure.
Picasso Museum as well.
Yeah, I
saw his
missed out on
artwork.
that one. Next time
It's
I'll do that
so
one.
beautiful and inspiring as well, you know.
Yes.
They have video footage of him and him talking
Right.
as well, and it's just beautiful to see how,
Right.
you know, where he gets his inspiration
Yes,
from.
yes.
It's so beautiful stuff. I
Nice.
went to the Sacré-Cœur as well,
Oh.
and traveled a bit or walked around in the Montmartre
Yeah.
neighborhood. Beautiful neighborhood.
With the Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge as well.
Yeah.
So now I fell in love with Paris. I love
Okay.
Paris. I hope that one day soon I can move here, maybe do some theater here for like on a more permanent basis.
Right.
That would be lovely. That would be amazing. So yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to shock you. I read somewhere that you took some online French lessons in 2020. Yes. And I
Where
want
do
to
you get
ask
this
you
information?
social media. So I want to ask you, is there anything you would like to say to my French viewers?
Ooh, look, I must say, I had a couple of lessons, but I kind of got some terms together just to get by. So I know a couple of words. I know actually how to ask for help. So I would always go to a person and I would go like, bonjour, je ne parle pas français, parlez-vous anglais? You know, and I would do it in the best voice ever to kind of, you know, to kind of just get some help from people. And I must say, people have been very accommodating to give me
Yes.
to give help and directions.
Especially in Paris.
In Paris,
Yes,
it's
yes.
beautiful to see how
Yeah.
they're so willing to help. So
Great.
yeah, and I hope that I can, and I fell in love with the French language as well.
is.
So
It's a beautiful
I hope that I
language,
can
yeah.
I can better my French and learn some more French terms.
I've been doing that for 6 years and I'm still not fluent. So
It's such a beautiful romantic language.
after a
that
glass of wine, yes, then
of
I'm
course,
fluent.
yes. Then the tongue is loose, and then
Yeah.
then all of us feel like we can speak French.
Yeah. Marlo, my last question for you is what are your goals for the future?
Ooh,
Long term.
long-term goals. It's just look. I always say that how I see my career
Yes.
in the arts is it's a marathon and not a sprint. And I hope, and I always say that I can't do anything but act, and I don't
Right.
want to do anything
Right.
but act. You know, well, and you know, stuff that links onto the performing arts, like directing or,
Sure.
or teaching or whatever
Okay.
that may be. So I just hope that I can sustain myself in this industry, you know,
Okay.
and do what I love for the
Yes.
longest time, and
Yes.
share some love and share some beautiful stories still
Okay.
for the future.
Nice.
And hopefully the physical body and the
Yeah.
mental body keeps up
Yeah.
to do theater for as long as I possibly can.
Great.
And to touch lives, you know, and
Yes.
hopefully change lives and to
Very
inspire.
important.
I'm very keen and I love inspiring young actors. You know, so in whatever field it may be, and what kind of inspiration I can be to youngsters.
Great.
I hope that one day I can almost hand down the baton, you know, and
Yes.
for future generations and
Absolutely.
of my people back in South Africa, and where I come from a rural town in Oudtshoorn,
Yes.
in South Africa, to kind of just inspire those kids that didn't see or can't see anywhere out.
Yeah,
I had to, you know, I had to fight
Yeah.
to be where I am and to get where I am.
It's a battle.
And hopefully that inspires young children that can't see anywhere out to also follow my path, or in whichever way they can be, but to do whatever they can
Right.
to strive.
Okay. So keep on being an inspiration.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. I really appreciate. I know you're tired, but
Yeah,
I really
my voice is a bit
appreciate.
strained from the shows that
Yeah. No, I
asking.
appreciate it. Thank you so
Apologies, but
much.
Thank you so much. Leon. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thank you.